confirmation of what's happening at Downtown Disney for the next few years, including what's going here and there while we're on demo watch at Tortilla Jo's. News from Avengers Campus, views of Haunted Mansion construction, but first, Critter Country is open. Let's recap what's happened here in the past couple of days. You hopefully caught our first video. We did a quick update from what's happening at Critter Country when the land opened up on Thursday. Promised to do a more thorough, in-depth look. We're going to answer some of those questions that people might have had after that first trip through. Plus, see it with a few more people, obviously. People have realized Critter Country is open. Also, by the way, that sign right there, the Hungry Bear Barbecue Jamboree sign, that was not there on Thursday. It is there now. We're waiting, hoping soon to find news of when the Hungry Bear will be reopening. I'm expecting it to be soon. Churro Cart is back, which is a delight. I was hoping that would be the case. This right here, I'm gonna kind of pause here for a second, because when I first saw this, I was like, is that rock arrangement new around the fencing or on the ramp to the rail to go up to Hungry Bear? I thought, is that new? No, it's not. I'm pretty sure that's always been there, but we could just never see it. It used to be covered in ivy. Fan of the show found this image, and it explains a lot. This is how it used to look. Perfect angle of this view that we've got right now of the Hungry Bear. So yeah, covered in ivy of those rocks, and you can see that the landscaping there was kind of meh. You know, it's a little average looking. Today, I feel like it's a lot cleaner, a lot neater, and I do love the fact that they cleaned up those rocks and took all that ivy off. I feel like this is a much better look for this part of Critter Country. That stump there, I know they took out a tree. That stump there I think is fake though, just for whatever that's worth. I think that's a fake stump, but they did take out a tree. We watched them do that from the train. Right here, I'm digging this. I'm digging this little entryway. We talked about that in the previous video. It creates a lot of really good definition for guests, giving them an idea of, you know, that's Winnie the Pooh over there. If you want to keep going further into the land, you go to the left. And I think that that's a very wise thing. It helps to organize the queues, organize the people so that they know where to be. Because it used to be, when you walk down this path, it was just sort of straight. There was no definition. It was just a single path. And if there was any sort of collection of guests out in front, it would block that path. Some folks had suggested that this was done for ADA purposes, but you'll see here on the old footage that there was no ramp that ADA guests would have had to go up. This is purely for aesthetic. This little side entrance is purely for aesthetic. And I appreciate it. Although I kind of wish that they had more room for strollers down towards the left, because I can't see the cobblestone. I want to see the cobblestone. I think it's really nice looking. All this is pretty much as we found it in years past. Maybe a little less dense in terms of the landscaping. Glad to see Pooh Sticks River with running water in it again, by the way. Critter Country is one of the most aesthetically pleasing lands that you'll find in the entire park. Whether or not they call it Critter Country or Bayou Country, it still looks and feels mostly like it did before, which I'm very grateful for. And I think that, like I said, in spite of the name change, that's something that we should all be recognizing and enjoying. Character meet and greets are still here. There's Tigger and Rabbit. So you'll find them just like as you did before. This would include Winnie the Pooh as well, and Eeyore. On the backside, you'll see that the Teddy Bear's Swinging Arcade is still there. That's still part of the themed environment. They did not change the theming for that at all. Although there's something happening in the front of Pooh Corner. You can see Scrim and Scaffold up there. So they perhaps are doing something to the front of that. Although I suspect that's probably just paint and polish. But again, they're keeping quite a bit of the, everything on the left side of this land is pretty much exactly like it was before. We'll enter the gift shop. This is Pooh Corner, but it's the middle section. There's 3 sections. The treat section on the right is exactly like it was before. All your, Tigger tails and cookies and candy, etc., are still there. They did not change this at all on the interiors, nor did they change the middle, the plush section. This is where you find all your Winnie the Pooh plushes. People worried about Winnie the Pooh being removed from this land, never going to happen. They sell copious amounts of food and merch here at Pooh Corner. This rear section, though, is going to become Lewis's Critter Club. This will be the Tiana themed side of things, the last third, which is fine because they didn't actually use a lot of Winnie the Pooh merch back there. A lot of it was fairly generic. Friend of the show was able to sneak their camera through a little bit, a sliver of things. You can kind of see that the setup is the same. The counter and everything there is just as it was before, with just some slightly different color schemes. And I think you can even see some of the character names up there on the wall. But otherwise, it's set up more or less as it was before, just a slightly different theme. Yeah, that's that star. What is that star? This will take a little while for it to reopen. I'm not expecting this anytime soon. It may be a couple weeks, a month, or something to that effect. Yeah, that one's got Timoleon. Is that, yeah, Lewis is on the door. It's not a star, it's a handprint or something. And then Timoleon on the little door on the side there. There's Lewis. That's his door. Okay. So, yeah, here again at the entrance to Pooh Corner, there's that really cute sign out front. That's behind Scrim and Scaffold. So look for something. I mean, again, I'm thinking just paint and polish. New trash cans. Asking us to keep the bayou clean. There's our first affirmative reference to bayou country here rather than critter country. And as I mentioned, Teddy Berra's Swingin' Arcade. Also missing is Mr. Swanson's house, where Rue's mailbox was. This was always very cute. Hopefully they've got a new plan here for something that's Lewis themed. We talked about this in the video from Thursday, that there's been additional work done on what we're calling Tianas Tunnel. They closed this. This was wide open back in the day. I don't have any footage of it, how it looked back in the day, because I never had cause to film this before, but this used to be completely exposed. You could watch the logs go by. This is completely enclosed now. For some reason, we still don't know what that is. They're doing some kind of effect in there, or perhaps trying to slow the transition down from light to dark, because it was kind of abrupt. But I'm expecting there to be some kind of light effect happening in that tunnel. Something similar perhaps to what we've seen at Magic Kingdom, though as I mentioned in the last video, I don't expect it to be the same thing, because this is a different part of the story. That was happening in the Laughing Place at Magic Kingdom. Laughing Place is nowhere near where we are now. So I don't expect for it to be the same story, but it could be something, an effect similar to that. We'll see. While we're here, there were lots of work being done on the rooftops of the exit building here at Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Still waiting to see if they're adding any kind of stain to those rooftop shingles. But there were many crew out here working. It reminded me, I've forgotten what it was like to film back here. I used to love coming back here to see what was going on. And I thought we were never going to be able to see this work again until the attraction opened. But yeah, we're getting to see some up close and personal work being done. Try to see over the wall here. That's just the exit though. So I'm not expecting much theming to be happening here. That's the exit of the attraction as you come around the corner. So yeah, nothing to see there. Now there's these two guys doing some hammering there, but look beyond that, and on the path to the logs, this is a basket of some sort of vegetation up there and a pumpkin. So we got theming in ride, themed elements. There's a pumpkin patch actually. Cool. More of the rooftop shingles here that's the entrance barn, and there it is again. I really like this yellow and green combination. It's much more muted and not quite as vibrant or saturated as the one at Magic Kingdom, plus no mural so far. And I don't think there's actually any room for a mural. You'll see there on the side. That's because the one at Magic Kingdom, the mural's on the side of the house of the barn, but there's not a lot of room for that here. So I don't think we will be getting any kind of mural here, which I think that most people would agree is probably for the best. I don't hate it, but I mean, it seemed unnecessary. Got some construction workers talking over the plans here. What I'm looking for, though, is to see some of those lighting fixtures up there and see if there's any kind of other themed elements we can see down the path. But that's it. We just saw the lighting feature. There's some more of that green trim, by the way. That's on the backside again. We're looking back at the exit barn. More of that green trim there. It looks like they're still building it. Here's the light fixtures outside. This is at the entrance. You see that steel, that green steel structure there. That is going to be the location of where you process lightning lanes. Same exact spot where they processed lightning lanes before for Splash Mountain. But before, it was completely exposed. There was I think they had one umbrella perhaps for the cast there. So I'm guessing this is a more formal, purpose-built area with scanners built in and shade for the cast who are going to be out there spending a lot of time processing Lightning Lane guests. So I don't think that this is the finished, not anywhere near the finished look for this structure, because you can see it's still bare steel practically, just colored bare steel. Now let's go back to the beginning, because I wanted to look at the surface. We saw this when they opened up the path between New Orleans Square, Critter Country, and Galaxy's Edge. They reopened that. We observed that they had redone the pavement here, the walking path, and that has extended into Critter Country, where it is now, where it used to be just a kind of a plain gray surface, as we saw in the previous, walkthroughs from a year or so ago. They've got this more porous, cracked pavement with these stone-like things embedded on the sides of the path, which is really interesting. They kind of, if you go back, it looks like, let's go back to the beginning. What they're doing is it's a visual clue for guests as to it's to encourage them to be on that side of the path if they're going to perhaps purchase a churro or a lemonade. They put them in areas where guests are going to be, or where they want them to stand. And then this is sort of a defined queue. If it ever does get this way, it's a defined queue space to get into Winnie the Pooh, or the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. And then in the main walking path, it's free of those stones, which I think is really, really cool. I love the thought process in that. And then you can see there's more. That's queue. On the other side of that wall is queue for Tiana's Bayou Adventure. So down the middle, clean. On the left and the right, stones. And then abruptly the pavement changes as we approach the queue for Winnie the Pooh on the right. They did this recently. All of this was dug up. All of this was dirt in the past. This has been added and done with intent. So it's not like they just decided to stop doing the theming at that part of the path compared to what it used to be. That's all new. That's done with design and intent. For example, this along the wall. This is to show guests this is where you park your strollers. I like that. I like that a lot. So I'm not bothered at all. It doesn't affect your appreciation of the land. The fact that it changes tone and color and texture. This pavement that we're on now, this is old. They didn't dig this part up of the land, so this is how it used to look back in the day. So you can see they did put in some thought and design to the pavement here, and to the walking surface, which I appreciate. And then one last look again at Winnie the Pooh, the entrance here. Again, it's creating definition for the guests to go in there. This is all aesthetic. This has nothing to do with ADA. In fact, it was probably easier, I would think, perhaps for ADA guests. I mean, there was a grade, there was a slope, so it's a little flatter than it used to be. If we look again at that old footage, there is perhaps like a 4 or 5% grade there where they're going downhill a little bit, but it's not like it was difficult for those EVs or wheelchairs or anything of that effect to negotiate that path. This is almost entirely for aesthetic and to eliminate situations where the queue would, on a busy day, run out into the walkway. Back in the day, the guests would run straight out. They wouldn't curve. They wouldn't curl around to the rail. They would move straight out, and these guests walking out of the park or out of the land and into the land had to go through that queue. So this is good. Oh, by the way, we've got space here. This is the queue space in front of the Breuer patch. I mean, I guess we're going to have to get on the Mark Twain later to get a good view like we usually do. But you can see, again, the posts that have been installed with the light fixtures there. Still undetermined if they're going to create any sort of shade or some sort of canopy there. I mean, it looks like there's possible that they could, but it could just be those poles and the lighting fixtures and probably speakers, hopefully, for the radio. They did leave these critter elements at the Hungry Bear entrance. I noticed this also. So again, more of that theming is remaining. It's the same. Looking at this here, I'm looking at the train track. This feels less wooded, I guess is the word I'm looking for. Less wooded. Let's go back to that old footage we were looking at before. Train is actually going by. Does that not, certainly at least one of those trees is missing. I think it's the forward tree, the first tree. Nope, I take that back. It's the second tree. The tree right next to the Winnie the Pooh entrance is the one that's missing. So that's probably the reason why I'm feeling it being less wooded looking here. We're getting a cleaner view of the train track and the train itself. Let's look back at the Hungry Bear. We know that this is going to become the Hungry Bear Barbecue Jamboree. I wanted to see if I could spot the menu. I see kids meals up there. The Power Pack, kids hamburger, kids cheese something. And then burgers, a cheeseburger, a classic Impossible cheese. This is the old menu. And the Farmland chicken salad. This is the old menu. They have not updated the menu here at the Hungry Bear yet, which means we're still a ways away, because that's going to be some more. I guess they could probably just pop those signs out and put the new ones in, but it means we're not as close as I had hoped. That could still be, a little bit of time before they can swap out those signs. The reason why I assume that is because, as far as I know, there's no Impossible items on the Hungry Bear Barbecue Jamboree menu. There's no Impossible menu items, which makes sense. It's a barbecue joint. So, I mean, I would hope. Anyway, we're going to change scenes real quick. We're going to stay with Tiana, but we're going to go to the top of the treehouse just for fun. Does that ladder... Oh, hey, that's a log. Does that ladder have function, or is that themed? I keep asking this because I see those ladders all over the place. Those ladder-like things on the top of that roof, or that's the second lift hill barn. I'm seeing those ladders all over the place, but I never see anything come of it. I never see people on them. Is that theme? And there goes another. They're testing logs here in the middle of the morning. That's a good sign. Now, forgive me, but I'd like to take a quick break from this construction update to let you guys know about GetAwayToday. You may already know that they are our preferred vacation planner, travel agent for our fans who are looking to book a trip to Disneyland or Walt Disney World or more. Universal Studios Hollywood, Universal Orlando, SeaWorld, Legoland, you name it. And I'd like to think that we know them very well. We've met many of them personally, and we know how kind they are and how really tremendously good they are at their jobs. And that's why I'm confident in referring our fans to Getaway, because I am confident that you will be treated just as well as we have. If you're planning a trip to a Disney park or Universal or anything else of that nature, if you're planning a trip soon, use the link in our description so that they know that we sent you and so that we know that you were sent to them through one of our YouTube videos. And in so doing, you can be confident that you're going to be getting some of the best possible service from people who know everything there is to know about planning a trip to the Disney parks. Thank you for that. Let's get back to the show. Take a quick peek at Magnolia Park for the Haunted Mansion queue just to see if we can spot any progress here. Way in the back there, you can see some of the more of those brick pillars and obviously the walls that are creating the definition of the new Haunted Mansion queue space. This is from the New Orleans Square train station on those steps. And there again is the wall. I don't know what that thing wrapped is. Is that a Silvacell? I think that might be a Silvacell. And there's that wrought iron fence we saw in the pictures from last week. Still, there's going to be more queue built here, I think. More queue on this side of the wall for the Haunted Mansion. Now we're on the Mark Twain. Let's go. Okay. On the Mark Twain, looking at Magnolia Park, and get in there. Yeah. Okay, see where that guy right in the middle of the frame is? Right behind that hard hat are those steps. Those are steps to go up to, or I should say, it's an exit. I guess it's an entrance or an exit to the Disneyland Railroad. And I would imagine there's a ramp there as well, probably on the other side of the brick wall, to the low brick wall to its right. That's your ADA access area there. Still no sign of any of the landscaping they might be doing in here. I loved the old landscaping at the New Orleans Square station, so hopefully they find a way to bring that back as good or better than it was. Okay, there's the queue space in Magnolia Park, the extended queue, as we observed last week. That's just part of the new queue space. There should be, according to the concept art, there should be additional queue space being built on the other side of that big wall right there. Although I don't, it's hard to place it with the eye. Like, it's going to create another section around it, which is really fascinating. I can't wait to see how that pans out. It's moving along quickly though. And just trying to see if we can see, it looks like the walls have grown. Those construction walls have grown in the rear section of that queue. We used to be able to see a little bit more back there. But it looks like they're really hiding that view as much as possible. They don't want us to see anything back there. take a sneak peek over the wall at the gift shop area, although we get a better view of what's happening there with that steel there on the ground. But I've got some interesting observations about that, though, so stay tuned on that, because that gift shop that they're building is awkwardly set up, in my opinion. There we go. That's the steps up. That's what I'm talking. See that? Those are the steps into the train, the Norton Square train station. Cool. I don't know why that makes me happy. It does. As we noted from the top of the Adventureland treehouse, there is log testing. Nobody in these logs right now. I was in the park also on Wednesday night on the Mark Twain, and I was able to capture, it looked like they were doing some light testing. There were some guests actually on the attraction, cast members doing live testing, and you could hear, although I wasn't able to pick it up from the Mark Twain, you could hear them testing the audio also. You could hear tracks, characters speaking on the Tiana's Bayou Adventure attraction from the Mark Twain. It was kind of wild. But yeah, so there is light testing going on. I'm still waiting for them to do literally anything with regard to the top of the lift hill there in terms of the bottles, etc. We'll get back to that in a minute. But this view now from Critter Country is a little less important from the Mark Twain now, so because it's open, so we can see everything. So basically what we're left with is trying to see what we can see over the wall along that path, along the bridge connecting New Orleans Square to Critter Country. By the way, we can no longer see through the holes in those fence. There was these little knot holes. It was great. They weren't actual knot holes, but I call them knot holes, but holes in the fence. But they already plugged those up. We got fresh baked on those. They're like Batman and having a defense against fresh baked. Yeah, so I'm waiting still to see some water appear in this area. Obviously, there's nothing there yet. That's probably going to be the last thing they do before the attraction opens up. And you can actually, by the way, look here. You can see queue space. And through those trees, they are working on that queue space. I wasn't sure if that was going to be included or not, but there is a lot of queue happening there behind the Breuer patch or raised berets. So it looks like that. I'm not sure if that part of the path will still be accessible there. I think you might still have to enter from the other side. Right here. The entrance to Tiana's will most likely be right about here between these two magnolia trees where those two posts are. Yeah, right between those two trees, I believe, is where the entrance will be. But they might still send the queue back that way. They could probably reroute it and redirect guests into that queue space behind there and then bring them back around. You can also see that they've closed up some of the mountain surface there where they were working on adding that electrical. As for Hungry Bear, as we mentioned, it's still not open, although tables and chairs are completely set up. I'm expecting this to reopen probably in the next couple of weeks. We'll be looking at the menu, and when the menu changes, that might be a good sign that we're close. We'll keep looking at that each week. Meanwhile, on the ground, let's take a look at the Haunted Mansion gift shop there, appearing just outside the exit to the Haunted Mansion. Steel popped up overnight earlier this week, and it's I mean, that's giving us a real good idea of the scale and shape of this building, obviously. One thing that's caught my attention, though, is that piece of steel right there. That's final, right? That steel is there, and it's going to be there forever. Here again, right there you can see the left side of the wall there, and then that piece of steel is just to the right of that side of the wall. That steel essentially bisects the exit. See that? You can see the guests exiting there. Look at the wall there. It's like it's extending out into the path of the guests. They have to go around that wall when they're exiting the Haunted Mansion. They're going to have to go around. That steel represents some part of the Haunted Mansion gift shop. They're going to have to go around the gift shop, not through it. They got to go around it. You've heard of exit through the gift shop. This is exit around the gift shop. I'm not sure that is exactly how they wanted things to be. It certainly does not look like that in the concept art. Even with that awning, you can see that and that's probably what that is, perhaps, is that awning that sort of sticks out over the edge of it. They're still going to have to go around that. Even that looks like it's only meeting the right edge of the crypt exit. It's a little wider, I think, than they were hoping. I mean, I could be wrong, but it looks kind of wonky to me. So this is probably going to start developing quickly. I don't think it's going to take long, actually, for them to build this thing. I really don't. That's that ladder thing again I was talking about. Why is that is a mystery to me? I don't know. We'll look over the rail at the bridge between New Orleans Square and Critter Country to see water in the flume. Oh, that makes me happy. This is all done here. I'm really happy that we're this close now. And there's a log test. By the way, they're testing it without water on the drop. Also without, no bottles, man. I don't know why so many of us are just like curiously obsessed with the appearance of the bottles at the top, because I think it's because it was a key element of the model when we saw it at D23, but there's still nothing there. It's not that you can't see them. They're just not there, at least not at that part. They might be a little further down on the other side of the lift, but we certainly can't see them at the top of the hill. So that's Tianas and Haunted Mansion. Let's flip the script a little bit. Let's talk about some news, Avengers Campus news. Recently, we all know about the announcements that they're building the e-ticket. It's been confirmed. It's going to happen. It's going to start in 2025, etc. Permits have been issued by Disney asking for 3 new addresses that are going to exist in this space here. I've been advised that one is for the actual attraction building, one is for the restroom building, and then another one for area development, which could be backstage type stuff, maintenance, that kind of thing. So that's the first step in the process of construction, is defining for the city what those addresses will be. And then from there, we'll go into permits and bids for demo, and then for land clearing. Then they'll start digging up the surface and getting into dirt mode, and we'll be in dirt mode for quite a while, and then vertical. I'm seeing the whole future here. So we've got actual steps being taken by Disney to build Avengers Campus, which is quite exciting. Also interesting is a permit filed for the shooting exposition in Frontierland. A permit has been filed for upgrades to this location. Nominal stuff, innocuous, but important just the same, because it demonstrates Disney's desire to keep this attraction going, to keep it maintained, to update it, as opposed to, let's say, I don't know, turning it into a DVC space like some of our friends over on Florida, over on the East Coast, have been enduring. Okay, so from here, when I was here on Thursday, I noticed across the pond the Dead Man's Grotto was closed, and I was panicked because I thought we just got done reporting that it's open. So I jumped on a raft to Tom Sawyer Island to check up on the updates that we found last week. Out here, the stage area for Fantasmic is still closed. Can't get out there. Lafitte's Tavern and all that still closed to guests. Hoping someday they change their mind on that. But Dead Man's Grotto was open. Guests going in, enjoying Dead Man's Grotto. Very relieved to see that. The treasure lift, unfortunately, is not working today still. The bilge pump, unfortunately, is also not working again. We'll just keep checking on this. It's still, can you at least clean the water? You need to get some movement in here, because that's, that stagnant water turns all swampy. The pontoon bridge is open for guests also, so we're basically where we were last week. While I was on the island, I did take a peek over to the Haunted Mansion queue space over at Magnolia Park just to see if I could see anything. The views are limited from this area. I'm by the treehouse here, but we could see the brick wall there, and we could see, there it is. There's again the steps. Those are the steps leading up to, for guests, the standby queue steps leading up to the New Orleans Square Station queue space. And hopefully soon, again, we'll see some landscaping right there. That's exciting. Let's go to downtown Disney, where you may have heard the news that, there's been a lot of stories, a lot of things happening. I'm so glad that we get to talk about this now. Portos has made a statement themselves, not Disney, but Portos, that said, hey, guess what, guys? We confirmed we are building this new location in downtown Disney, and it's been confirmed that they're building it in the old La Brea Bakery location, what is now Earl of Sandwich. This location will be demoed probably in early 2025, and they will begin construction of the new Portos. It's happening. It's official. It's confirmed. Portos is coming into this space here at downtown Disney. As of now, Earl of Sandwich is still open here. It's open actually in both locations, which we've watched them build that little temporary location, but Earl of Sandwich is still open, and it will be until they start to demo it. Love this location. Very affordable sandwiches. If you're a fan of Earl's and you're a fan of the $9 sandwich, which is a rarity these days, if when you come here the Earl's is closed and you still want the world's greatest hot sandwich, you need just head down to the rear part of downtown Disney. Walk all the way walk that entire path all the way to the backside of downtown, and then you'll pass the Star Wars Trading Post, go around the corner to this location, and just around the corner opposite the ESPN zone, the old ESPN zone, you'll find Earl of Sandwich, where you can get the same hot sandwiches and everything there. That location will be there for a while they build the new location. After they've torn down the current one and start building the new one, which we'll get to in a second, that location will be there for quite a while. Let's go back to the walkway through downtown Disney. We'll observe these construction walls are still up. Most likely these are to put in new light poles. You'll recall that there was that issue with the trash cans where they were perched up. They were covering a light pole that fell. That's probably what they're doing here, is replacing those light poles. Marceline's is still closed. That's Marceline's there on the far right, the yellow one there. These two locations are going to become Marceline's also. Disney has confirmed this winter Marceline's will be renamed and rethemed. Disney Wonderful World of Sweets. And there you'll see the concept art for the facade. It's going to be one big giant location, and it's going to be kind of amazing. It's going to be much more than it was. It's going to be like a candy shop, like a Willy Wonka type situation is what my mind is telling me. Per Disney, a whimsical candy, sweets, and treat shop featuring tasty favorites such as churro, toffee, caramel apples. These are the usual type stuff that they serve there. Plus, Werther's original caramel popcorn. And you'll be able to watch them actually make these candied items in the kitchen, in an exhibition kitchen, which is something that you could see before. But I have a feeling they're going to get much more in-depth. It used to be just like you saw on Main Street. We could watch them make the stuff through the kitchen. I feel like they're going to make this more of a part of a show type situation. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this looks. Just the outside makes it look very fun and enjoyable. And this is going to be a huge draw. Marceline's becoming the Wonderful World of Sweets. We mentioned permits before. A permit has been filed by Disney to demo Tortilla Jo's. We walked through here and we're like, oh my gosh, the space doesn't look the same without the fountain here. The demo of the fountain just happened. That demo of that fountain was done, to my belief, in order to clear space for them to bring in the heavy machinery that's going to be required to destroy that building. Before, they wouldn't have been able to do it, I don't think. It would have been very difficult anyway to get that stuff in and out of there and to do the actual demo. So the fountain is a casualty. It was falling apart anyway, which probably it was falling apart probably because they knew they were going to demo this whole thing. But it's going to be quite a scene. I'm hoping that I get to witness some of this, because watching them destroy this building is going to be an event in and of itself. It's a huge, enormous building, Tortilla Jo's is. You don't really understand how big this is until you see it, let's say, from a distance from across the street as you look down Disneyland Way or Disneyland Drive. It is a very, very big building. I caught the demo of, or part of it anyway, of the AMC Theater and the original Earl of Sandwich building. It was spectacular. And I'm hoping that I get to do the same this year for Tortilla Jo's. I'm really looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to seeing what that happens. Now, what's going to happen here at Tortilla, they're demoing this. We thought a long time ago, I thought that might be where they put Portos. But no, it turns out they're going to be building. Disney has confirmed this as well. This is actually confirmed a while back, but they're reconfirming it. 2 locations are going up in the Tortilla Jo's building. A steakhouse and a barbecue restaurant from Michelin-starred chef Joe Isidori. They don't give us much in the way of details in terms of the menu or if this is going to be high-end, which I assume it is. You talk about a Michelin-starred chef, it's not going to be quick service. These are going to be table service, high-end dining, a steakhouse, and a barbecue eatery. By the way, for those of you who are missing Steakhouse 55, here you go. That's probably why they didn't replace the Steakhouse 55 or bring it back at the Disneyland Hotel. This is a huge deal for guests staying at the Disneyland Hotel, because they didn't really have enough of these kind of restaurants in downtown Disney. So, it's not that far from the Disneyland Hotel. This is a great ad for downtown and for hotel guests. Quick view of what's happening over at Parkside Market. I feel like this is a secondhand story right now, but there you go. Parkside Market is still under construction. But what I want to talk about most is I finally got my answer. I've been asking Disney, what are you doing with these retail shops? What's going on? We haven't heard anything. I feel like they've just been paused. Disney has confirmed 2 of the locations that are going here. Avengers Reserved, obviously a Marvel-themed gift shop, a big space here. And D-Lander, which is a boutique shop celebrating, according to Disney, trend-forward fashions for Disneyland fans, offering a stylish collection of apparel, accessories, and jewelry. D-Lander. Okay. The Avengers gift shop will be the first one there, I'm assuming, next to Parkside Market, and then D-Landers will be that one just on the other side of those pumpkins right there in the middle. There's 2 more locations that they can use for other shops. We'll stand by for those announcements. But here's an up-close look. That's Avengers Reserve on the left, and then next to it would be D-Landers. And then right here, these are the 2 open spots there, the unclaimed as of yet locations. 2 more boutique shops probably coming there. The other thing that Disney confirmed is the construction. This is actually the first that they've actually said it, or we've got any concept art or anything, is the new Earl of Sandwich. That is happening here, and it's happening exactly where we have been saying it would happen for the past forever, in that space in between the retail buildings and Din Tai Fung, in that open space. We've been standing by and waiting for them to say something. I guess we were just waiting for Portos to get their act together. But it's going to go exactly where we have been calling it. It's going to be buttoned up right next to that retail building and then extending out towards the right in that space back there. So we'll be looking for construction to start happening here very soon. If it's not already, they may have been doing foundation work there. I'll try to see if I can get some shots through the wall perhaps to see if they've been working on foundation. But right there is the future home of the 3rd future home of Earl of Sandwich. I wonder if the original Earl of Sandwich would like the way this looks. I just wonder. By the way, I thought I had heard it was gonna be 3 levels. You know, a bottom, you know, the sandwich shop on the bottom, the tavern, or the restaurant in the middle, and then a rooftop bar. But I'm not getting a rooftop bar vibe from this concept art. I'm getting just a split level vibe. So it's possible that it's the lower level is the sandwich shop, the upper level is the restaurant, and then perhaps the bar is over there in the left corner. I'm not sure. Catch you up on what's going on with the security entrance there on the Disneyland Hotel side. It looks like they've added a canopy. So it is just as I suspected. It's going to be something in between what we have on the left there by Din Tai Fung and the less than sexy one that they have by the current Earl of Sandwich gift shop down there, the downtown Disney parking lot entrance. Something in the middle there. All right, let's talk next about what's on the refurb calendar, both what's happening now and coming up. Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln obviously is still closed when we still do not have a reopening date. We're just standing by for the new Walt Disney animatronic and show element from the Great Moments with Lincoln Theater. Indiana Jones will be going down for refurb on September 9th, and that'll be for about 5 days, reopening on September 14th. That short of a closure suggests that it's not a big deal. Don't expect any major updates happening at Indiana Jones. The sailing ship Columbia is closing on September 23rd and will be closed through the 26th, reopening on the 27th. Again, I'm not really sure what the reason is there, but it's a 4-day closure, which suggests that it won't be anything severe or important. Probably just routine maintenance. It's a Small World is closing on September 16th. The calendar does not show a reopening date, so we're not sure. You know, my guess is it's probably going to be opening for the holiday season. It'll be closed through to the holiday season. That is longer than it normally takes. Normally it's only a couple of weeks. Normally they close it just a couple of weeks ahead of the Christmas season. So I'm not sure what else they're trying to do, but it looks like they're just going to keep it down. That's my guess. That's why there's no reopening date, because we can't see that far into the future. As of this recording, we can only see as far as October 13th. The Jungle Cruise is closing on September 16th and will be reopening on October 4th. That is about almost a month for the Jungle Cruise to be closed. We're going to be fixing the tiger scene. There's a whole permit for that as well. hoping that they do a good job. That the budget for that, according to that permit, was $650,000. That seems, I don't know if that's a lot or not. I'm not sure, actually. Space Mountain, as you know, has been closed for a while. It will remain closed until September 6th. It reopens on September 6th. There are no outward signs of what they're doing here. Most of what they're updating on Space Mountain is in the interiors. The only thing that I've noticed here during this time when it's been closed is that single wall up there, that construction wall right there at the top of the stairs. I'm not sure why maybe they built that to keep guests from going up there. I think that's all that is, because you could go up those stairs. Now that I think about it, I'm almost positive that's why. I'm also curious, though, why they have this sign up here that says exit only. What are they exiting from? There hasn't been anything in that theater for years. Anyway, the Disneyland Railroad is closed and has been for a little while. We still do not yet have a reopening date. Again, the calendar only goes as far as October 13th, so it's going to be down at least that long. The rumor that I heard, though, was that the Disneyland Railroad would be testing at least by that point. So I don't think it'll be much after mid-October before we see the Disneyland Railroad come back. The monorail has been closed for a bit now, a couple weeks. The monorail also does not yet have a reopening date. We're standing by for that. The monorail is down. Hopefully they're doing some maintenance on it itself, but it's down so that they can finish the construction of Parkside Market and the retail buildings, which run very close to the monorail tracks. And that is it, guys. That is our construction report for this week. What a week of news it was this week. Man, I am excited. I am so excited about the next few months, both in terms of what we're going to get and what we're seeing, what's going to happen. Downtown Disney, very exciting. This is the most hyped I've been for Downtown Disney in quite a while. And the park itself is starting to come around into being the most operational it's been for a very long time. When we get Splash Mountain done, by that time, we should also have the Disneyland Railroad done and the monorail and all that. This Christmas, I think it's reasonable to think that by the beginning of the holiday season, November 15th, we'll be as close to fully operational as we have been in years. Very exciting. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you like this show and want to show your support, please do consider joining our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/freshbaked, where we're doing extra videos for guests there in terms of Bride Recon, that kind of thing. And then follow us on Instagram at _freshbaked, Twitter at freshbakedisney, that's fresh with no E. Lots of updates happening on Twitter these days. I hope you guys are joining us there. I have been super busy on Twitter recently, and then on TikTok as well at Fresh Baked Disney. Otherwise, thanks again for newsletter. We got stuff coming up in the newsletter too. There's a link in the description. Free to join. More news and helpful tips for around the park on the newsletter. Thanks for watching, everybody. We love you. Be safe out there. Be kind to one another. Fresh Baked.